Speaking of Academics, man, that dude, a lot of people have been coming after him. Obviously, we know the whole Ty Lil situation where he kind of got done up or backdoored, supposedly, by Ty Lil and everything. But I was actually going through Fantano's page while looking through the Fall Off album, and I stumbled on to this video. Academics is compromised, is what they're saying. That's what they're saying in the streets. These two, if you know Academics and you know Fantano, you know that they've hated each other for a very, very, very long time. Academics is the Drake of hip hop media, and Fantano is sort of the Kendrick Lamar. I don't really want to give that to a white guy, but he does do great work. People like him a lot. You know what I mean? He is abrasive, and he can be very, very annoying and kind of seen as overly intellectual for no reason. So I do think that fits. But I think they complement each other just in the same way that Drake and Kendrick Lamar do. Who wants to be living in a world where you only have one flavor? You need the variations. You need the balance. You need the light and the dark. That's not a race thing. That's just a yin and yang thing. Okay? It's just an energy thing. Don't come at me, people. We're going to go into this because he has been essentially coming at Academics. They've been coming at each other for years. In fact, that's why Academics put me on his live stream that one time, was because I made a video about Fantano. So they've been shitting on each other for years, but now Fantano decides to come out of the woodwork and do his own hit piece. So we're going to see what this is about.
I feel like every single time I have to talk about DJ Akademiks on this channel, it's because he's doing or saying another thing that just further proves he is the biggest, fattest, most veiny.
Whoa. Whoa. Here's the thing about Fantano. Like, he is a hip-hop dude, sure, but he just gives off too much, like, suburban white guy who's into hip-hop vibes. You know? Like, you're talking biggest veiny. What are you doing, man? Like, you gotta know your clientele. This is black media. That is pause-worthy stuff, okay? Those are some pause-worthy words, okay, sir? I don't know where you're going with this. Let's see.
Horrid and ugly, hideous hemorrhoid on the...
Okay, hemorrhoid. All right. I didn't, you know, I thought it was going to be another thing. Watch yourself.
The ass of music journalism, which, shockingly, I'm not saying because of this recent clip where he's talking about how cool and logical Nick Fuentes is. A man I would never think I would have to mention more than once within a month's time on this channel.
Shout out to the boy Nick, though. Nick a cool dude.
Oh,
There's one time I was like, I would never be in the same room with him. Now he a cool dude, though. I felt.
See, and I will say, so aside from what the video is about, I will say that this, I truly think, is the core of all of Academics' issues, is kind of his, not just his political views, but who he aligns himself with when it comes to live streaming, right? The political views are awful anyway, but you're entitled to have those views. But I think being on screen with people like Sneeko, Aiden Ross, right? Saying things openly like Nick Fuentes is a great guy, possibly hanging around with Nick Fuentes. Who knows? I'm not saying he has, but, you know, he hangs around people who are like serious conservative people and say a lot of nasty, vile things about people who do not look like them. Let's just say that. So it wouldn't be much of a surprise if he did hang out with Nick Fuentes at one time or another. And that really, I think, is what gets him into so much trouble. Number one, from the black community, because as many black conservatives as there are, we still kind of get a little uncomfortable in white conservative worlds. I say that as a black leftist. I'm not a black conservative, but so I know what it is, you know? So you might think like they need more policing, but you're not trying to hang out with somebody like Nick Fuentes. You know what I mean? The farthest you'll go is Candace Owens, and you're only saying she's right sometimes, right? So, because you know deep down that even if they have the same views as you on a certain level, to them, black people are down here and white people are up here. And everything that they do is going to be in service of that point of view. And you've seen it. Aiden Ross made a fool of himself with the whole Doechii thing, right? Coming at Doechii, now Glasses Malone, you know, tries to put the green light on him, right? And here comes Academics on Aiden Ross's stream, throwing himself in the mix for absolutely no reason. You are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, hip hop media platforms. And you're hanging out with a guy that likes to berate dark-skinned black women. And even if you don't think he's a racist, and do I think he's a full-on like racist? No, I just think he's racially insensitive and completely ignorant and very, very spoiled. And he hangs around with people like Akademiks who let him slide with a lot of things. And so he thinks he could just slide with any black person. And when he isn't allowed to slide with any black person, he gets his other black people like Pokemon and he deploys them. And that is when DJ Akademiks and Whack 100 come out of the woodwork to work their magic and kind of work him back into black media indifference. After a while, those things can't really be removed from you, right? It's like you get a white towel, right? And you pick up a pile of shit with it, right? The first time you can wash that towel and the stain from the shit is gone. But if you pick up piles of shit with it every day, that's your shit towel, right? At some point, it gets dingier and dingier and dingier and dingier. Doesn't matter how long you soak it in OxyClean, it's fucking dirty. It's a shit towel. And that is what I fear that Akademiks' platform could become, a shit towel of the white live streamers' point of view within hip hop media. We don't need that, and I don't think any of us want that. But for some reason, he continues to conduct this stuff and act this way, and I think it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. But let's go back to the video.
When he go off on some little racist tangent, I don't like that. But like I like his logical, like he'll make logical arguments, and I'm a logical.
But no, an even bigger story has seemingly just come out where Akademiks has just admitted multiple times on camera to receiving a large sum of money for favorable coverage of a particular artist, in this case, Lil Baby. Austin, will you roll the clip?
Any of you lie about anything I'm saying, and if I'm lying about it, I promise you, I will show my whole bank account for every dollar y'all ever gave me in life. I will give it back to you because I do not respect whole. I will give it back. P, Baby, the entire, and I'm telling you, even Universal Music Group, Capitol Records, Motown, I will give every dollar back. Baby.
And so, listen, we know this whole situation with the whole Lil Baby, possibly Ty Lil doing the whole backdoor situation. I think that is where he's getting this live stream from, right? Is the live stream that Aiden Ross had with Akademiks and a couple other guys. They're talking about Ty Lil. They're talking about the entire situation. We know this, right? The real issue is the whole payola thing. This isn't news. We've all known that Akademiks has been doing this for a very, very long time. He's said this about Lil Baby even in past live streams. If you watch Akademiks' live streams, you've seen him talk about getting paid by record labels in order to boost certain hip hop artists. This is not a new thing. So yes, is he compromised? Absolutely. But have we not known that he's compromised? No, he knew the whole fucking time. Number two, payola is how hip hop has always worked. And this is my thing when it comes to social media and like YouTube. It created a whole new wave of people who create content, right? Interviews and documentaries and all that stuff. Amazing, right? A lot of people who weren't able to get into these industries can now just make videos from their home and millions of people can see it and they love the content, they watch it, they do it. That being said, a lot of these people who are in this new age of media know nothing about the old age of media. And a lot of the old age of media was heavily, heavily curated and heavily paid for and invested in, right? It's the same issue where people talk about, industry plants, right? I brought this up on a past podcast that I used to have where the word industry plant really is just what people used to call getting discovered 20 or 30 years ago, right? Where, yes, don't get me wrong, there are certain people who are just born and raised into shit, Nepo babies, right? That's a real thing, and, that can be fucked up, whatever, it's its own thing, right? But when it comes to industry plant, whether you're talking Jack Harlow or Ice Spice, whoever, right? These are regular people. And getting discovered was the same thing. Somebody would just put out a video, some agent who just spends all day watching videos or buying cassette tapes in the 90s, listening to the new artists who put something out, or just walks around the hood, bro, knowing different areas that hip hop artists are known to congregate, and hears these people. They hear their work. They think, yo, this person not only sounds great, but their voice and their image is very, very marketable, and I can help them do that. And they tell that person that, and they put money behind that person. They introduce that person to all these people in the industry, and there's nothing wrong with that. The same thing goes when it comes to payola for hip hop media entities, right? Someone like DJ Akademiks. This isn't an expose. We've all seen the rap video or the movie with a rapper in it where, you know, he's lit in the city, right? And then to really go mainstream, he goes to the local radio station and he bursts in and he drops like a duffel bag of money on the table, right? And they're looking at it and they count it and they're like, this next song is the song that's be hot up in the city. A legend that you all know, that I know, we love. Listen to this motherfucker. Bang. And then it's the whole, you know, it's history. You know, it's almost like that. It's almost like that Back in the Future. Yo, this is Marvin. You know me, Marvin. That song you looking for, right? It's that moment. That has happened in like a million things, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a movie, it's been there. We've all had that hustle and flow moment. And that is because that was real. That is how your favorite rapper from the 90s got on, right? That's how people like Jay-Z got on. Why do you think he was a millionaire before hip hop, right? Because he was financing all this shit. This is how he was independent at that time. He was financing all of it with drug money, right? And then paying off different, you know, radio hosts to put his shit on, right? Coming to venues and paying them independently to run his independent shows. That is how things go. And it has always gone that way. And it doesn't mean that an artist is illegitimate because they've gotten more followers or more listens through something like that. So when it comes to Anthony Fantano talking about all this shit, you know, I understand where he's kind of coming from. Like, this guy's a fraud. Like, he takes money, but they all take money. Joe Budden takes money. You know, Akademiks takes money. Rory and Mal take money. And to be really, really honest with you, I feel like Fantano probably should watch his step, because I would not be surprised if he has taken money in the past, or he'll eventually take money in the future, and a video like this is going to come off as very, very bad, because he's condemning people for something that is very, very done in the hip-hop game, just the music game in general, right? Even if you're not taking money as an actual straightforward paycheck, it might be some sort of favor or anything, right? They all accept it one way or another, and it wouldn't shock me if Fantano did as well. So, you know, Fantano, if you're watching, don't throw stones in a glass house. Even though, I mean, I'll be honest, you have a bit of an empire here, and I would love to have the glass house that you have. What do you think I'm doing here? All right, we're getting out of hip hop. We're done with hip hop now. We're finished. We're getting into the real world, people. All right.